Jamie Woodcock on the number 17 machine. Just completing their warm-up lap and back onto the grid in the positions that they led away on the warm-up lap, with Harrison Crosby, P1, currently second in those series points. 11 points to make up. He could leave Red Lodge as the championship leader in the AC40 rookies category. Alongside him, Sullivan Mounsey had a non-finishing ride first time out, a creditable 13 points last time out. Can he secure his first podium finish of the 2017 season, having missed the opening round in South Wales? Stood on the grid, Luca Hopkins really had the pace last time out with a second position finish after a non-scoring first race yesterday. Riders looking to the lights then and scrambling away down to the first turn. Good start off P3 from Luca Hopkins, who jumped straight up to second ahead of Sullivan Mounsey, who's relegated to third. A bit of a gap then for the fight for fourth position, with Jamie Woodcock involved in that one, but relegated down by the looks of it into fifth position. Is that side by side for P4 as they come up towards the left-hander and onto one of the longer straights here at Red Lodge. The top two breaking away, Harrison Crosby and Luca Hopkins, as they did last time out in race number 2. And Harrison Crosby in line to potentially seize the championship lead in the third and final race of the weekend in the AC40 rookies class. Still the race is over those top two positions, but none of the top 5 are really out of contention as we get to the end of the opening lap and having to work hard to defend. They're coming off the final turn. Harrison Crosby with Luca Hopkins right on his tail. Sullivan Mounsey then still in third position, with Jamie Woodcock up in fourth and ahead of Ethan Sparks, but only narrowly. Sparks with a brilliant getaway, coming through from sixth on the grid. And now up into fifth position, the rider to miss out, Orlando Phillips, who dropped a position on that opening lap. Side by side again for fourth position, with Sparks looking faster than Woodcock at the moment. Can't convert that into pace though down the straight and up towards the top bend, and positions are currently static, but not too much in it between Harrison Crosby and Luca Hopkins. A tenth of a second at the end of the opening lap, and still trying to find a way through is Luca Hopkins. He was very close to Harrison Crosby coming off Paddock Bend on the opening lap. See if he can make his move on Paddock Bend this time around as we come towards the end of lap number 2. Then again looking up the inside is Luca Hopkins, this time not close enough to challenge. Harrison Crosby runs narrow, going down the inside into turn number 1. That blocks out Hopkins. Sullivan Mounsey looking to the inside as they come around Senna, getting alongside for P2. Close racing further back down the field as well for 6th and 7th positions. And it looks as though Orlando Phillips has actually lost out in that battle. We'll see as they come past us. To me, it looked as though Orlando Phillips dropped back behind James Rose into 7th position. That'll give James Rose P6. Ethan Sparks had got the better of Jamie Woodcock on that last lap, and a new fastest lap of the race from Ethan Sparks, who now goes off in pursuit of Sullivan Mounsey. He's joined the battle for the top 4 positions, and Jamie Woodcock starting to drop back in P5. That does indeed give the opportunity to Harrison Crosby to pick up the points he needs in this race to become the new championship leader, but he's still under severe pressure from Luca Hopkins, who's almost up the inside coming into Paddock Bend. Harrison Crosby having to defend supremely here. Hopkins is the faster of the two of them, but swerving to block going into turn number 1. Harrison Crosby running down the inside of the start-finish straight on each lap here, and then moving out just far enough to block Luca Hopkins into turn number 1. Hopkins is going to have to regroup here and come up with something slightly different to try and make that pass, because Crosby doing as he did last time out, where he just runs to the inside down the straights and forces Hopkins to go the longer way around the outside, and there's no route through on the outside of turn number 1 here at Red Lodge, because it gradually tapers into the sharp left-right section at Senna. So it's Crosby who leads the way ahead of Hopkins in second position. The top quartet pulling clear now down the Simpson Straight of the group behind, which is led by James Rose, getting the better of Jamie Woodcock and Orlando Phillips in the early stages. It's still Crosby, still from Hopkins. Hopkins again has the momentum down the start-finish straight. Again, Crosby goes to the inside down the straight and then moves to block back into turn number 1. Ethan Sparks, a new fastest lap of the race once again on the tail of Sullivan Mounsey. He has been right pegged into the back of this top trio through the majority of the race so far, after working his way through from 6th position on the grid and up to P4, and now it looks as though he's making his move up the inside, coming off 180, gets the better of Sullivan Mounsey and relegates him to 4th position. That's a really good ride from Ethan Sparks on the inside of 180. He was able to bide his time. He was smart enough not to make any rash decisions as he tried to come through the field. He's the fastest man on the circuit at the moment. He's come through from 6th and up to 4th. He's now up in 3rd position, and he's right on the tail of Luca Hopkins, and with Hopkins clearly being held back here by Harrison Crosby, that could give a real opportunity to Ethan Sparks to upset these top two, who were also the top two in the last race out, race